How are you?
Good, thank you, Lee. How are you?
Good, good. Most people will know Sian from Survivor, two Survivors actually, but Sian actually come down to our club last year to talk to the women and girls in our club with Mona Hope. So a lot of people would know Sian from that. So in regards, you have one of the most unique CVs going around. Criminal barrister, two-time All-Australian, mother of 4 kids, and numerous marathons, including the Hawaii Marathon. How do you find time?
Yeah, look, it's a tricky thing to balance. I tend to prioritize things. So if I've got a marathon coming up, then I'll have to make time for that. So I get up super early and get the kilometers in. The same if I've got a heavy case going on at work, then I'll prioritize that.
At what age did you realise that you wanted to be or get involved in law and be a criminal barrister?
I think I was about 8 years old, which is very young, I know, to know what I wanted to do. But it arose from a play that I did at school, which was a criminal kind of courtroom setting. And I came home and asked my dad about it. And I said, that sounds really cool. I think I want to do that. I want to be a barrister, Crown prosecutor. And so, yes, that's where it started. And then I just put my head down and got to work. And here I am. I've been at the bar now for 20 years, actually. So it's a long time to be practicing.
It's amazing. You got admitted to the bar the Victorian bar in 2000 as, if not the youngest, one of the youngest women ever admitted. So that's once again is an amazing achievement. What were your first impressions once you were there?
Well, at first it was a little bit daunting because I'd moved from interstate actually and started practicing then in Victoria. So I was admitted in Queensland first and then Victoria. And yeah, look, it was a dream. So to actually be living the dream, like, you know, when you've set that goal and you hit it, that was kind of cool. So at the start, it was exciting, but also daunting because I knew I had to really prove myself to be able to get work and sustain that work.
So a lot of hard work over the years, not to mention raising 4 kids. In October 2015, you're appointed as Crown prosecutor.
Yeah, that's true. And that's one of the highlights of my career to date. I always wanted to do that. I wanted to become a Crown prosecutor and I really enjoyed the work that I did there in the 3 years that I was there. Yeah, it was amazing.
I mentioned in the overview, you've done some marathons and triathlons. How many marathons actually have you done?
I think I've done 8, Lee, I think over the years. Yeah. So I think there's like 3 Hawaii marathons in there and then the rest are Melbourne. Yeah.
Favorite ones?
My first marathon ever was probably my favorite because I never thought I'd run a marathon, Lee. Like I wasn't a runner when I was younger. I was a swimmer and got into running after I had my 3rd child. So, you know, set my first kind of goal was the 5K run for the kids. And I think you and I might have even been kind of training at that time or similar interests around that time. And then just went up from there. So set my mind to the 10K and then a half marathon. And then a couple of years later, I was like, you know what, I'm going to have a go at the marathon. And I never, ever thought I would do that. So here I am 8 marathons later. And ultra marathons, actually, one with you, Lee as well.
Yeah. It's about
down
7
the Surf Coast.
Yeah, 7 years ago. That was a long time ago now. I struggle. I need to do a lot of training to get back into that one. So
you did well. You were in the last leg. Remember, you brought it home for us. Yeah,
I do. I remember that. So
yeah.
Before we start talking about Survivor, I just want to know, and I've heard the story, I'm not sure if it's true or not, but many, many, many years ago, when you were watching Survivor, you said, I want to go on this one day and win. Is that true?
Yeah, it is true. When I started watching the seasons when they first started from the US in 2000, around the same time I started at the bar, watching it, completely taken with the concept, loved that idea. And I thought, I want to do this one day. I want to be in this show. And I knew it was in the US at that point. It was not even in Australia. And then later when it came to Australia, I was, very keen to do it. And then a couple of seasons in, I thought I'd put my hat in the ring and the rest is history.
So you get on the 2018 Survivor, which is Contenders versus All-Stars.
Champions versus Contenders.
Champions versus Contenders.
Yeah.
What did you actually have to do to get into that show?
Yeah. So I actually sent in an application and that was quite a lengthy application and then a video application as well. And then after that, they got in touch with me because they were doing a Champions Contenders season, which when I applied, I wasn't aware of that. And when they rang and they said, look, we would love to have you on board as a champion. We're, you know, super impressed with your career. You fit that bill. Would you, you know, consider that? And of course, I mean, my gosh, to play Survivor was amazing, but then to be asked to be a champion, it was incredible. I'll never forget it. Yeah, it was so cool.
So you end up on a team with the likes of Matt Rogers, Brian Lake, Shane Gould, Lydia, Mo Hope, the list goes on.
Yeah.
You know, lots of egos.
Well, I was worried about that going out there, knowing that I was going to be in a tribe of champions. But to be honest, they're some of my best friends now, Lee. Like, they are such great people, down to earth. Yeah, you know, perhaps a few egos, but not as many as I thought there would be out there. So I was very fortunate that I got grouped with a great bunch of people because, I think we're kind of forged for life in many ways, those relationships.
Where was the location for that one?
So that's over in Fiji, in Savu Savu, which is on the island north of the main island. And it's the most beautiful part of Fiji I've ever been to. I've been to Fiji a few times. Really gorgeous up there. So it was an adventure. It was awesome.
And you're on the island for how many days?
So 50 days in the game, but you go over a bit earlier because, you know, you've got to, they kind of, prep you, which I won't go into, but you learn some basic survival skills and things. And there's just a couple of things that happen before you go out there for the game. But I was in the game 50 days, both times, 100 days playing Survivor. So
So 50 days. So 50 days without the food you want all the time, phones, laptops, connection with the outside world. What was the hardest thing for you on that island for 50 days?
The hardest thing was not being able to talk to my family or hear how they were, get any kind of word or sense on how they were. So like, here we are, you and I communicating like this. And, you know, during this pandemic, I know everyone is suffering in various ways, but you do have the ability to hear and see your loved ones. And for me out there in Survivor, I'm not trying to compare it in any way, but that was the worst part, not being able to communicate. I had no idea how they were, if they were, you know, sick, injured, whatever. And they had no idea about me. So that was the hardest part for sure.
So 50 days and then there's two. There's you and Shane Gould.
Yes. In the first season, yes.
Take me through what it was like to make the last two in that series.
Oh, look, to get to that point in that first series, I was so excited. Like, that's what I'd set my objective. I was going to go all the way to the end and win. That was the goal. And to be there in that moment, it was very surreal when it was happening. I just remember, how incredible it felt that I'd made it that whole way and beat so many great competitors and physically strong competitors. So when I set out, Lee, I mean, you know, you just don't know who you're going to be up against. And to be able to get to that point was, an achievement. And I felt, really kind of proud and honoured to be there.
So unfortunately, you lose to Shane Gould 5-4, which is extremely heartbreaking, you know. But you played an amazing game, winning so many challenges. What was your favourite challenge on the game, that first one?
I actually loved the one where I'm up the pole for like 4.5 hours. I was in a really good frame of mind that day and I was so chilled. And I remember when everyone was like kind of complaining early on, I was thinking, I'm sweet here. I'm really comfy. Like, what are you all dropping off the pole for? So I actually towards the end, it was excruciating, the pain. And I had nerve damage in my big toe for 6 months afterwards as a result. But it was pushing myself in that mental space. I didn't really know how I would ever fare in any circumstance like that. So to be able to do it in that way, I think that's why it's my favorite, because I surprised myself, I think.
So it's all over. You go back to work, back to normal life. But that's not the end of Survivor, is it?
No, seemingly not.
So what happened? What happened with the next Survivor? Did they contact you, or you had to reapply? Or
no, it was just a phone call. And when I got the phone call, I had settled back into life. You know, got through everything that I needed to, and I was back at work properly. And then it was like, oh gosh, I don't know whether I can do it again. So I had to ask the family first because I wanted to get their approval, like to make sure the kids were fine with me going out again. And in small part of me was hoping that they might say no, but they were all like, hell yeah, Mum, you got to go and do it again. Just go, you have to go and play again. So yes. That's how
so where was this one held?
So this one was in the same location actually. So in Fiji, in Savu Savu. we were just up the other end of the beach where I was in the first season. So when we're out there, we got to go down to the old camp, and I saw the tree that we'd notched up with all of the days. Our old kind of camp was still there in a way. We found remnants of our old camp. So that was kind of cool.
And what was this one? Was this Champions and Contenders or?
So Champions and Contenders the first time, and then
Yep.
All Stars second time. Yeah.
Okay, there you
Yeah.
go. Second one, massive characters and players in that game, including some people that were on the previous Survivor with you.
Yes, that's right. I had a lot of my fellow competitors from my season.
So when you're looking around the first time, who stands out as your biggest competitor?
Well, I saw Matt Rogers out there, and I was a little bit concerned about that because I thought he might have some revenge that he perhaps wanted to take out on me. And, I think people thought maybe I'd want to do the same for him. But so that was, I knew that was kind of a threat. Competition-wise, look, I knew Dave was huge competition from the start. Who else did I think? Henry. I thought Henry was a real threat. Lee, so many, because there's so many good players out there. And Lydia, Mo, all of them. Yeah. It was a feast for the eyes when I got out there. I was like, whoa, no, oh God, no.
Did you play the game differently the second time than the first time?
I did. I deliberately kind of exploited the relationships that I had because I wanted to be in with everybody. So first time round, I was very loyal to my core kind of group, and I didn't really stray from that. And then that's what caused me having to fight from at the end. I couldn't get in with those girls or Brian. They just wouldn't let me. So I thought, I'm not going to put myself in that position where I have to win challenge after challenge to stay in the game. So I thought if I can create lots of relationships and have a place in those relationships, I could get to the end that way. So that was my strategy this time. And I thought that might be appreciated as quite clever, particularly when you got to move around like that. But it didn't go down so well with the jury.
Let's fast forward 50 days. You're in the last two again.
Yeah.
This time you're with David Jennett, who was pretty much probably the favourite from the start.
Yeah.
Was he who you're expecting to be the last one with you there? Was that the one?
Early on, no, because I wanted to vote him out quite early. When we tribe swapped, I was really pushing to vote Dave out because I knew he was a threat. And I hadn't kind of had any relationship with him at the start. And then Phoebe just wouldn't vote him out. And then some things kind of developed with Mo, and we decided we'd kind of go another way with Phoebe. And Dave ended up sticking around. And then as soon as I knew that, he was valuable to work with, that I could use him as an asset, which is what I did. I ended up working with him until the end. But that wasn't entirely evident through the edit, and you couldn't really see our relationship from that earlier stage. So there was a point when I knew he'd be at the end with me, but I thought that, my game would speak for itself. But again, didn't go down as well as I'd like.
So unfortunately, it gets down to the final and you miss out. Unfortunately, history repeats itself.
Yeah, but Dave's an awesome player. Like, seriously, he played a hell of a game. So, yeah.
You've played another amazing game then. So you end up with a Survivor CV of 2 games, 100 days, which is an Australian record.
Yes, it is. True.
You also hold the record for the most challenges won in a single season.
Yes, I think that might be right. Or is it tied, perhaps?
Oh, I think it's outright. I think 23 I've got there, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, no, I do have some good stats there. You're right. Good work, Lee.
So you've achieved so much. Is there another Survivor in you?
Oh my gosh, that's a hard question. It's a hard thing to go out and do. I know you guys see the TV show and it's all, the episodes, but it's hard. Like, it's one of the toughest things I've had to do. So, but I'm the kind of person that never says never. Like, seriously, I don't know whether I do one anytime soon or another Australian one. I might do an overseas one. I don't know, but I wouldn't rule it out necessarily. Still got to win, right?
Yeah,
still got to win. That was my goal.
100 days, as I said, 100 days over 2 times. It's an amazing achievement. So,
Thanks,
obviously back to normal life. You've achieved so much. What's next? Is there a marathon or a triathlon or something coming up that you're looking at?
Oh, look, I've registered for the Noosa Triathlon in November, but
Yep.
with border closures and everything at the moment, I mean, that's not looking like it's going to happen for us, I don't think. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, look, I'm just keeping up with my fitness regime. Haven't been as, full on as it usually would be, but yeah, that's on the horizon. And certainly next year, if things open up again, then I'll be back onto that. But otherwise, my next plans, I'm just kind of treading water at the moment. I've got a few ideas and things in the works. I'm keen to get into politics. So that's also something on the horizon. But yeah.
I'd vote for you.
Thanks, Lee.
That's pretty much all I've got. Just wanted to say thank you again for your time. I know you're very busy, extremely busy,
No,
but
it's a
really
pleasure.
enjoy jumping on for 20 odd minutes with you and having a chat, and
Yeah.
look
No,
forward
I
to
hope
catching up in person when
I
this is
know.
over.
Absolutely. And I just hope that everyone, in the community is staying strong and just know that it's going to pass, it's not going to always be this way, and we will get back to whatever the new normal is. So just stay in there and stay strong. Yeah. Because there will
Yeah,
be an
100%.
end.
Actually, just quickly while I've got you, the Noosa Triathlon do you do that in conjunction with a charity?
Yeah, Heart Kids. So in the past,
Okay.
I've worked with Heart Kids, raising money for them, and that's a charity that's kind of close to me as well, because my niece had some issues when she was a baby.
Yeah.
So yeah. But that I always integrate charity work into my events. Usually, that's something I like to do.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Look, really appreciate taking the time out, Sean. It's great to see you.
You too, Lee. Even though it's on the screen.
I know.
Yeah. Look after yourself.
You too. We'll catch up soon.
All right. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Sean.
Bye.
Bye-bye.